Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with a brother. I'll use the terminology now, a brother. We're here with
Allan.
a brother, and I'd like him to introduce himself. He's very intricate when it comes to the soccer slash football, and I don't want to take up too much of his time, but it's a brother that of late I've been zooming in on because, like me, I find he's doing some tremendous work. It looks to me, just watching some of his work, that he's working hard at his craft. It looks like he believes in what he's doing. And based on that, I like to have him and keep him within my scope. All right. So without any ado, I'd like to let you meet this gentleman here.
Yes, I. So, for those who don't know, Julian King, now for the people in the reggae community, they shout me as Julian. Canadian World.com started it 20 odd years ago. And the only thing that keeping me out of maybe coaching football is reggae music. The football used to be my first love, but I get for realize reggae the love, you know?
Yeah. So, Julian, for this moment, give me a little of your background. Once it's Reggae King, ladies and gentlemen, you know where this guy coming from. So let me hit it hard one time. Give me a roots from yard.
Easy enough. You know, may I make some notes in the region. So I started late. I started playing football at like 10 years old. The rest of the man, they was playing since they were like 5. So I had a very rude introduction to the game, because when you're uncoordinated and can't play, you're made to look a fool. Because man would take the ball and beat me like, you know, when a kid can't play, he falls for every beat. I was that kid. So I was vexed. So I had to go learn to play.
So ball players out there who play against Jules, you see what going. You see why you just play hard. You see why you just drop kick and stuff. Go on, my brother. Go on, go on.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. Oh my God, you're going to laugh to that. Anyway, so I was a little kid playing with grown men, always, you know. So I went to a high school as well called Wilmans. So they won the Triple Crown back in the day, which was the most prestigious thing ever. And it instilled a winning mentality in all the youths in the school. We didn't even realize it till we grew up. You know what I mean? So I've always been around ball. I went looking for it. You know, one of my uncles. So by association, I could go to practice where my uncles were. So I played for the under 14 team for Cavaliers and for Santos. For Santos, they didn't put much work into it, but I got to play with Allan Skill Cole, Jamaica's greatest soccer player. I was 15 years old at the time. So I got to play with and I played in the Mona League when I was 13, and my teammates were 16 and 17 years old. Like, you know, that range between teenage liquor boy to big man. You're the littlest kid. So, you know, in them days, you know, Jamaica is bad for it, but I'm sure Trinidad is the same. If you're a liquor boy and you can play, and like you beat a man and the crowd laugh or anything, you better not touch the ball again without your head on a swivel.
Or stay away for it for a little while.
And stay away or run across the field or whatever you needed to do to survive. So, you know, sometimes you have to stand your ground, but, you know, I played with bigger people. So I was always having to fight. And every once in a while, a coach would yell at me and say, yo, just because you're small. There's a man played for Jamaica named Michael Edwards, Ratty. And he was one of my teammates up in Mona. And he's the skinniest man ever. He played for Santos, and he also played for the Jamaica national team eventually. And he was skinny. And he was one of my mentors. And he pulled me aside one day and said, listen, Bert, size don't have nothing to do with football. if you're going into a tackle, go in a tackle.
True.
So even as a little youth, every once in a while I would surprise a bigger youth who didn't expect me to come.
I can relate to that.
And when you slap him, you were a midget.
Yeah.
So when you slap him, everybody around you go, uh-oh, we don't want to touch this to come on.
Yeah. And your stocks go up a lot higher. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it go.
You have to live, Reggie. You have to man, you have to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a player for them teams, and they taught me a lot of things, and I had many good experiences. And the high school thing, Woolman's thing, was pretty amazing. And having two uncles, John Melbourne and Bentley King, on two separate rivaling teams, and that was like having like football royalty, match. So I was lucky as a little you.
So what time you came here? How you leave that whole Ball Haven and come
Right. Well, if it was up to me, man, I wouldn't have left. But I was a product of a single mom, right? Me and my sister and my mom in 1970s. And then Edward Seaga, Prime Minister at the time, had made a bold statement that any of them lose the election, the streets of Kingston are going to run red. My mother with two children and a youth who's out in the streets playing football everywhere. Every day I come home, it's like she cries herself. Because in them times, a lot of parents' phones was ringing of children who didn't make it home. Jamaica did rough, right? So she decided to, she now stay there. And her and a whole heap of other Jamaicans were part of that exodus that came here in the 70s and the 80s. There was an exodus before that in the 60s, right? When I think Canada opened up their borders to seeking different types of labor. So they were looking for women.
Yes, nannies
And maids and shit. But we never come in out of one. Saying we come in our next one where politically enough people ran out of Jamaica. But I think that was also like, I always think these things are orchestrated because years come by, those of us who read and those of us who see what there is to see understand what the CIA can do in any country, anywhere in the world. So we had to accept that. Now we know. But we never knew as children. We just running for our life. So we come here in 76. And I missed my Manning Cup year. I didn't get to play for my high school. That broke my heart.
Okay, so what was going on in the ball scene? You come from Skill Cole and them. Who brought you in? What's the vibes? How you get into the ball?
Rasta, Chubby got me to West Indies United. And then, I mean, that part of my life, boy, I went everywhere and played football because football was like communication to us.
So was Chubby with West Indies still?
Yeah.
Was Irie functioning?
Oh yeah, there was a big rivalry.
Everything was going on.
Yeah, man. That was
the main league was what, TND?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the heyday, I believe, of those West Indian teams. Right.
So who was in West Indies at the time? So did you go into West Indies or?
No, and I came here at 16, so I played with the second team, and then every once in a while I'd run with the first team.
And like then, West Indies second team?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it safe to say product of West Indies, or we come in, that was in the earlys? Hold on. Can you tell me hold on? I'll take that back. Come here then. Talk to me.
So I have a lot of football family.
I know this. That's why I tried to pigeon to
it. So there was a league. I just popped in my head this morning thinking about talking to you. The Caribbean Chinese Association League.
I heard about that, but I don't know. Yeah.
Mobile was in the league. Flames. Remember Babes? Winston Ayao?
Yeah.
Babes played for Flames. And I played for Side near Rebels.
Rebels. So that's a new one. I know mobile. Mobile was in the league.
Yes, man.
Yeah, because they say mobile was more Chinese kind of. Right.
Chinese and middle class and redskin Jamaica. You can't talk the talk, bridge.
Yeah. Well, I don't know mobile that well. If I didn't know them, I'd talk the talk. But I
Yeah, well,
I
played
don't
for
talk
them.
things I don't know.
I played for them for a couple of years.
All right, so you could talk the talk then. You're the one not to talk the talk. I don't listen. I'm the one to
Yeah,
listen.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when you start playing now, you played. What's the first official for points team you play with?
You see, that's like I said, that's very vague because all those teams. I
Okay,
played.
so
There's
give me
no.
your how you recollecting your ball in terms of the team. We're gonna do the tournaments other than that, but what you think is your signature here in terms of either allegiance or you have none, or it's just straight ball and you just been bouncing. Because I know you're much traveled. Because I met you in Magic, you've been in Irie. I found out recently you were in West Indies to begin with. You now mentioned the Chinese League.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to go with you. You're very
Right.
yes.
Right.
So I'll have to leave it for you now to narrate the story.
Some of the Magic man them had a name for me back in the day, and it wasn't meant to be a compliment. They called me a ball whore.
Right. Yeah, I know
You
the statement.
right?
Yeah, I know
As
the
I was never offended by by the name because I love football and I
anything with
loved all those
ball,
experiences.
pion ball, who.
Right.
Yeah.
We used to play with We United and Caribbean United. It was all the same team basically. 7 of us would go play for Lusitania, Fiji Strikers. Would go play in the Spanish league as one. Like all of us would just go around. We played 2 games in a day sometimes.
Yeah, that's normal. But I mean, I've seen that you much travel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever getting paid by anybody? I mean, not on a constant, not on a contractual basis, but you show up
Luso
on
League,
somebody.
Luso League, with the Portuguese. Carl Martin was the coach of the team at the time. And in the Luso League, it was at Lamport Stadium. So that was like a semi-pro kind of So, but I mean, and then in 1980, remember that Chinese guy, Peter? He used to play for Irie, probably before you come. He played bass in the reggae band Ibadan that I managed, right? He was a stopper. No, he was a sweeper beside Talwan, I think, or Ronald. And Junior Parker was the coach of that team.
Okay, I do a couple of moonwalks every so often in Irie. So you're talking about a time when I probably did the moonwalk. Yeah.
All right then. So yeah.
So let me not now narrow you down that.
Yeah.
How
I'm
was
sorry
it?
to make it
How was your West Indies experience in terms of
that was
Andy Chubby? Because you call him name like Pizai and all these guys. How was that experience for you? Coming off of that Jamaica thing from back home into West Indies.
yeah,
How was that?
them brethrens were perfect mentors and big brothers. For like you come to what I see is a white nation and hated this place. Them man they teach me how to calm myself and learn to get by each day. You know what I'm saying? And them man they are traumatized. Chubby is a man, very European in his way. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's right.
So yeah, enough yard man is like that because them man they learn to calm themselves no matter the environment around them. Them still remain the same, but them just, So they help me a lot. And they also help me with confidence because out on the field of play. Because when we first come here, man, the amount of games, referees, and linesmen would deliberately cheat against a black team, and we had no recourse, And if we talk, we get red cards, so I had to learn to shut our mouth and take abuse. right? And every black player in them days had to go through it, whether it's Irie, Barbados, no matter. The referees were like the racism in the football was high level, you know, and the further out you go to Richmond Hill and them place there, the worse it got, right? So West Indies United players, Kuma played for Jamaica, and Dallas played for Jamaica, and Chubby could have, and Burtis probably could have, and I was surrounded also by very skilled and very dominant, ball dominant players too, right? So them man, them give, you know, them man give you a heart, you know what I mean?
So how come you didn't stay there?
You know, that's a wonderful question. You know, when you play football, you go football for you, maybe, and me and others is a spiritual thing too, you know. So if the vibe not right, we can't play with it.
Bingo.
Yeah. So you know, instead of me fight with people, right? Because everybody knows I'm a can't cross already. But instead of me I fight with people, I just walk wide at them and go play something. Where my spirit is more calm and I can play my best football. I love playing good football.
I agree with you 110% because it's a physical game and I know how you play. And I totally agree with you because that's what I go by too. If you're not comfortable, I can't see you performing properly. You know, unfortunately now with the pros and stuff, you know, and you have families, some guys have to stick it out and stuff, but we don't have to do that when we play. So yeah, I agree with that totally. So where you went after West Indies, you popped up in Ivy when I was not there, right? And
I think I went to Mobile after West Indies United. And then I also bounced around with the Chinese Caribbean League because it was just more football I could play with my friends then. And the Rebels team I played for was like Trinidad and Chinese.
So that league, where that league played?
It played up in Scarborough mostly, you know.
That's what somebody was telling me.
Yeah, mostly Scarborough. And there was some good football, region. Like you had teams, Arawak was like Guyanese Indian dudes. Then you had Crestdale, which was Redskin Trini. And then you had Tringo, which was Indian Trini. And then you had Palm, which was black man from Trinidad. And then you had like every little pockets of people, man.
Yeah, and you know those teams they call, and I know the names of the teams, so yeah.
Yeah, everybody know them. We played everybody. Everybody
but to see that you play against them, I never played in that league, but you're calling now that you're calling the teams, I'm picturing the league now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I never really went by that league.
D-Ro's father, 20, may he rest in peace. D-Ro's dad played in that league. And me and Tony used to get in fight. And Tony 0-0, the referee.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Tony used to fight.
Yeah.
You know, remember how hot he was?
Yes. Yeah, well, he used to be one of my referees, and I used to be on a little tight rope. Tell him just make the calls, you know what I mean? Like we don't need the extra, they explain the rules, you know? Yeah, because they try to explain the rules and within the game, and players don't really want to hear that. They want back the call. You know, it's not about the rules anyway. You don't make the call that they don't like. So what you gonna do? You can't take it back. It's not VAR time. So it didn't make sense to me. So within those teams now, so Mobile was in TND?
Yeah. They were like top 3 every year. I don't think
so that's what, second division or third division, you know?
Mobile would have been second division, I think.
So you said who played in that team? Terry was in that team then?
Oh, no. Mobile, I don't know if you know any of the players on that team, bro. I remember Garden Anglin was the goalie. Look at shot, fat dude. Garden.
Yeah, I know Garden, yes.
Yeah, and I played with
he saved with Magic too, right?
Right. Right. And
Gordon
then
it wasn't fat, bro. Gordon was thick.
I'm a brethren. They say ain't fun. And he's gonna cuss me when he sees this, but I don't care.
Yeah. So okay, so you
Yeah,
play
yeah.
T&D. So now the reason why I ask that now because with the other ones I realizing now you would be used to T&D. Because as we come up to this thing now, I realizing what's going on with you.
Yeah, man.
So after that playing in the T&D, because once you get that little bit of the T&D, you can choose the mobiles and all these, but you know what T&D is like, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you never play with Magic and T&D.
No, sir.
Okay. So the only team you played in T&D was you played with West Indies in T&D?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
So West Indies is the first
I
team.
had 2 stints with West Indies and I went back to them in the 80s and played with the first team.
That's after
And
the Irish stunt or
before Irie.
okay. So all right. So what caused the return to West
So
Indies?
West Indies, probably Billy Jack and Bugs catch from on the street corner and say, yo, time for you to come home and start. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it again. And we had a pretty good team actually. But one of the reasons why I used to walk from Jamaican teams or whatever, sometimes the infight was too much. Somebody always a war with somebody. And in order to be a championship team, it may sound fairy tale, but it's almost like you have to be at peace. The whole unit have to be flowing in one direction. Without, you're not fighting. No one's fighting the direction you're going in, right? But everybody have a daddy. So when I was playing with that team, was very skillfully gifted. We were in first place in the league, I think. And then we got into a brawl with Argentina and police kind of. And I think we got kicked out that league again.
That's the West Indies team that got kicked out.
I don't know for sure. I think that was one of the years then where them
Okay.
them used to pick on us.
I think it was just suspension or expulsion, but they went back in after that.
Yes, they did.
They went back in after that. That's where Balls told me. Now,
Yes,
no, you had two with West Indies, 2 stints, right? And what's the burning desire now? You know that's Jamaican oriented. You're in a multicultural society. You play with mobile, so your tolerance wide. How you were feeling how you joined Irie? How you managed to go to Irie now?
Before we get to Ira, we gotta talk about We United.
Yes.
And Caribbean United.
Correct.
That Terry, Trevor, Lion, Desmond, Birds, that team could not lose. I've never played with a team like that. All of the teams I'm a player for. I played for Sora Lazio when we win Consoles Cup and Premier in about 90. T&D. We win that. We play basic. Then I was coming off the bench. I hated coming off the bench because I've always been a starter in every team I've ever played on. And this man bringing me off bench, and I was vexed. But, you have to live with certain teams. But brethren, like We United, we played every caliber of competition from professionals to amateurs, and we beat everybody. I never played with a group of guys like that.
And that's We United.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but the other team you call is pretty good too,
Which one is that now?
You call Caribbean United.
It's the same set of players.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but they don't be two in the same competition because in the community.
No, I hear you.
In the community, when Caribbean United shows up, yes, I would say 80% or 90% of the players, but they also making a little room for themselves too. Some serious room.
That Carib team we believe, like if we show up for a tournament and the group of us walk past that trophy table, we're like, that's ours. You ask Terry, Trevor, Bruce, all of them on there. Once we walk past the table, Lion, and we look at them trophies, we're like, each of us would just walk up and in front of everybody, we're like, that's mine. And then Lion would say, no, that one's mine. And then we'd do it. And then at the end of the day, we'd win the tournament. We couldn't lose. Season after season after season. It's not like a fluke, Reggie.
Yeah, you at one time I would say you were the reigning, especially indoor,
Yeah.
where the skill level, I never see it rampant outdoor, but indoor it looked very advantageous. Well, of course, we know we gotta come in there and bring some mix,
Yeah, man.
we had to bring in some mix as we come in there. But yeah, that was a really good team. No two
Yeah,
ways.
man.
It has no competition in terms of that competitive level is gone. So those teams, yeah, you acknowledge those teams. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you realize now this guy is he's a hired gun. He learned from
Nice.
he learned from all those tackles where he say he couldn't play, or something, some transformation take place with this guy. So now we're playing on. Now I end up playing with him. So we're gonna get to that, and let's see what he comes up with. So you do the Curb United and you do the Reunited, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't we a little more flavor of the islands?
Dominican.
Right.
Most of all Dominican team.
Yeah.
Except for me and Lion. Well, Lion was from St. Lucia, me from Jamaica, Brewster is from Barbados. So we had a little mix in the team, but it's mostly Dominican.
Brewster is from Barbados.
Yeah.
So I'm Brewster trying to make everybody feel
That's cool, man. That's cool, man. I'm not saying nothing, Reggie.
all right, okay, all right,
That's
okay.
cool, man.
Bro, that one is for you. That one is for you. Right. Um, so okay, so we passed those two star-studded teams and we on to after doing those teams, you have the roots with West Indies, you do Caribbean United and we United. How are you feeling within them times? You went back West Indies. What's next for Julian? I mean, you just wanted to. I think you would have to take over this program because in terms of the history of the soccer here in
I
this
know.
you
No,
you look like
I
you
stink on
did it
dates.
all.
I stink on dates. I stink at historical background things. But the thing is, I love football so much, and I also enjoy playing good football with good players. Like when you grow up as a little boy, when you remember that them people used to make fun of Barcelona tick tock thing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wished for one day of my life I could play with them. Because when you are 14 years old and 15, and you're playing with National League players in like a practice game against, we used to play with Santos, we play against Soldier team all the while. We used to play up at Upper Camp. So every once in a while, we get practice games with the JDF team. Brethren, when you're playing with like national players and you can move the ball from the back to the left, to the right, to the middle, to zigzag up the field with one or two touches, and the other team don't touch the ball. Brethren, that's magic to me. That's just total magic. So I look for that when I play with Terry Bertrand.
Yeah, good player.
Brethren, listen, man, when you play with a midfield partner like that, you can have a bad game and you still win. He can have a bad game and we can still win. You have two guys out there and they were both going at the same time, Jah Almighty help you.
So why come in the latter part you rest up like if you're an old man? So when you went to Harry, I think earlier on you told me that you didn't want to play in the first, you want to play in the second and stuff. So
Okay.
I wanna find out because I was not there. I want to find out what that experience was like for you. What
Oh,
attracted you to Harry?
okay. I don't even remember what all happened, but maybe.
Can I make a guess? How is the Barras?
No, it wasn't hard. Actually, I kind of moved to Thorncliffe Park, which was right. So, and because something was always happening at the park on a Saturday, I could get out like a run just to stay in shape, you know. Cause them time I'm about 29, and you know when your best football is behind you, but you still love to play.
At 29?
Yeah.
No, man.
No, man. I still played till I was 40.
Yeah.
But I used to feel like, and you know this from playing with me, I guess. I felt like I could dominate any game I played against anybody. It didn't matter what your name was. That was my mindset.
But Mr. King, hold on now. Pull up.
Mm-hmm.
You still have that mindset, so I don't know why you're bringing, why you have the audience thinking it's all about the age thing and stuff. You know, they can listen to you and know that your mindset it has nothing to do.
Yeah, but I
wasn't. Because I play with you in the over 35, and you were still trying to dominate, and you know what I mean. That's just your desire, man. You have that.
Yeah, I get that's my thing, but it's my personality. But like I said, we talk about the spirituality of the game. I knew I didn't have that thing anymore. I could still play. I was still aggressive. All of the above. But I knew I couldn't do what I could do. I could see, you can see the sign.
Let me put it, sometimes it's not about you, you know. Sometimes it's about the opposition. Maybe depend on the competition and stuff too, you know, because pound for pound, once you go in your age group, Jules, you're okay. Don't matter if it's over 80 or over 70 or over 60.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? So what happens sometimes in our career when you're that good, you know, when is when, and maybe it was playing in your mind. So I just adding that to your mix now, that sometimes it depends on the competition you're around. Because you're the type of player that even when you're feeling what you're saying now, you're the type of player to me that would go and start doing extra training or give it up.
Well, that's what happened with Eric. So we get there. Between me and you, I never really like the vibe I go on with certain things. So I just wanted to play. I was, like I said, I was about 20, and I didn't feel like I wanted to put the time into it the way I wanted to. Right? So my daughter, my first child was probably, my wife was pregnant with her, my ex-wife. So I was like, I was more turning maybe family oriented in my way, but I still needed to play. I still needed the outlet. So once we figured out that the services league was only going to play on weekends, and I didn't have to commit to playing nighttime, and I was working in retail as well. So I couldn't work. I would miss games during the week if I played on the first team. So I committed myself to play on the so-called second team. And then more and more people came. And then when I realized that I didn't think we were very good, I said to some of the man them on the second team, if I used to practice on Monday and Wednesday, I used to go on a Tuesday and a Thursday as well to do running and training. Whoever come,
there you go.
we would do that. So that team, we started to train more. And some of the men from the first team started to come join us. But Dixon was saying that we didn't have enough players for two teams. That's not accurate, because we had a totally separate team to the first team. I played with the first team a couple of times when Ken Martin brought me up to play to see if he could give us a spark, because that year they were having a little difficult spell. I think we were still in first division at the time. So it was a young team, I think Ken Martin might have been at the end of the fortune days. No. I think he might have to go back to Trinidad for some reason. All right, I can't remember all the whole story. And then Roland took over, I think, and Kurt McNally, because Roland and Kurt McNally used to work with me with the Services League team. And then Roland had to go take over the first team. So Kurt kind of stuck around and worked with the second team.
Let me just clarify this point, because I wouldn't say a discrepancy, it's just a hangover of information. Who ran the second team?
I think it started out with Roland and Junior co-coaching our management. Then I think Roland moved to the first team when Ken went away. So that the rest of it kind of fell on to Kurt McNally.
There you go. That supports one theory, and it doesn't support another. So that's 2v1. So I'll go with the 2v1.
But I was there.
Because you see, because the names you're calling based on the vacancies, with Martin, I think, going back home, making logical sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
That somebody had to backfill in the first.
Yeah.
Right? And Roland would be the prime candidate for that, right? So I don't know if the Roland is yet to come in his interview, and hopefully he looks at yours, or I will tell him based on your saying so. Yeah, always fantastic.
And when we're playing against some of these like South American or even British type teams, we're lashing the ball from 30 and 40 yards. Larry was picking that shit. We had confidence in him. And then if I had another MVP, it would be Lawrence as the stopper, sweeper. His tandem with Richard was incredible, because Richard was a big man, as you know, and Lawrence was mobile and he was able to read the game. So wherever Richard went, Lawrence, where another defender would go, Richard, why don't stay home? Why don't? Blah, blah. Lawrence would just play off of Richard, and they had this thing that they worked well together. They never argued, bro. Richard and Lawrence were like that, but Lawrence, it helped you as a midfielder to know, so you have them two lions behind you. Cause if you pass, you're not passing Lawrence.
Yeah, well, that, for you to be explaining that type of chemistry in the team,
right,
it means that as the captain, very early, you might know either if one's off, if something is happening, if you got to hold back a little more till they come up to speed. You see, those are the things, what you explain in there, is things automatically after a while, you know how your team's going based on the start, how a game start and stuff. And these young players, hopefully they listen to these things and understand. Sometimes you have to give up your game to make sure the all dependable guys may be struggling a little bit, because you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky if you have that kind of stuff behind you. And as to the thing, like when I played in the Chinese Association League, like I said, I was playing with the Trinidadian Chinese. So on the totem pole of aggression, they're at the bottom, because the Jamaican Chinese beat them up, the black man then beat them up, the Indian man then beat them up. So Jules come play for them, and they were the last place team. They were getting 12 and 13 goals in the back of the net. And then I said to them, if you don't want me play for now, we're not going to have to train. So we started to train, and I started to teach them two-touch football. Brethren, we won the championship, the tournament, and the league playoff the following year. So I had that experience coming into this Irie business, right? And another so-called MVP, and maybe the number one, most of the guys on the team will tell you, was Keith McCoy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Keith McCauley was like a nice bunny.
Regin.
Yeah.
Regin. I felt sorry for some of them guys he played against. That man would run you in the ground, bro. And after we play games, he'd go home and run another 4 kilometers.
Yeah, and he used to run light too. It used like carry his weight.
He used to float. That
Yes.
dude used to float across the park, and he was never the most physical midfielder, but his reading of the game was so amazing that he would intercept your passes.
Intercept is his thing.
My role was Roy Keane back in the day.
So now that you're describing that team that went undefeated, ladies and gentlemen, he's saying this team is in the what league? Scarborough League?
They said
League?
They said it was the first era of the services league. And like I said,
what's the name of some of the opponents? So
man, I remember, bro.
Okay, now one day you give 22.
No, all I can tell you, I remember one game. Well, a couple of games. Now I know we must have won them because we have but it felt like we were beaten by a team, a Spanish team that Jomo and Carlos played for. And
Who's
Carlos
that? Jomo Pitt and Carlos Redmond?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Carlos was just fresh on Trinidad. And Carlos is like 6'2", by about 6'2", his shoulders, and could outrun you. And younger, and two of them were younger and bigger and stronger than me and Keith McCoy. And we beat them twice.
Close?
That game, all game, those games were close because his team was outstanding. Like, as good as they were, they had a couple of guys on their team in their midfield that were even like better. This team, the quality of the opposition we played in that league was not easy because back then, every team that came from Iran or Serbia or Portugal or whatever, they were all cliquish. So they all wanted to get into the TND. So they said, you have to play in this league in the East, and some of you have to play out in the West. And then if you win, then we'll take you into the TND.
Okay.
So these were still high-level ballers, bro. This wasn't I thought it was going to be an easy league, personally. That's why I said I just don't want to rush on the TND. I played enough TND in my life. I'm good. I wanted to just go chill. But this, and because it became tough, it became far more fun. Having tough competition, game after game after game was like, and then when you go 5-0, people get kind of interested. So it was at Thompson Park. So the benches at Thompson Park.
Yeah.
Maybe up to then is like the players, maybe 4 wives and some children in the first 4 or 5 games. By the time we get to 6-0, no more people coming. When we get to 10 and 11-0, the stands pack up. When we get to 15, 16, Thompson Park, full of people, bro. And we played that brand of football of 1 touch, 2 touch. We figured it out. We weren't as gifted as the rest of them. But we know that, especially as I look at you growing up with the kind of coaching I had, a coach told me once, the football move faster than everybody on the field, and it can't get tired. So we instituted that 2 touch, 1 touch thing. So even in games when we played teams that I think were more skilled than we were disciplined, Bridget, and fit. As fit as McCoy was, like, he was still above us, but the whole team, everybody was fit.
So did you have any of those success? I saw some trophy from you early on. We got to touch on the leagues now. Did you play in the Irie tournament, and how early? I know you came in 76, you said. How early did you play from the West Indies time? Did you play with Mobile or I know Caribbean United was in the league. They won it in 84.
I wasn't there in 84 with Cat.
So
I don't think.
Did you play in the Irie tournament at all?
So I played in the Irie tournament maybe once, I can't remember if it was Mobile or West Indies. It was but we weren't even contenders. So when I first saw the Irish tournament, I was still a member of West Indies United, but as a younger player. So I used to go just to watch, and I knew one day I was going to play in this tournament because that was the creme de la creme of all the tournaments. Everybody wanted to be in the Irish tournament. So through the years, one year we put a team together. We called it Selects, and myself and Bezic and Junior Groves, Laza, Babes, we said we have a bunch of brethren who can play football. Let's put them all on one team and see what we can do. Most of us are midfielders, but we know so we can play left back, right back. We're ballers.
True.
And on some technicality or other, then put go to the first Irish tournament, and we went into the West Indies tournament that year. We won that, right? But my experience, my last experience with the Irish tournament, like I said, me show off my trophy. You're rude and tell me about talk about a trophy.
Yeah.
This is the last golden boot.
Make sure it have lean. I'm not seeing the leans on them at the front, man.
Bridget, they have leans,
all right.
None of them are in grade.
You realize, ladies and gentlemen, these leans have no name on it, eh? So so you got that in the Irish tournament. But
so
what I want to do,
buy a trophy.
But you know, this, just letting you know how this works. Here how this works. This work with that would be registered, and I would do my cross-reference with Mangi and these guys to see when Jules win. What was that for? Most goals or MVP?
I think it's most goals.
You think?
Yeah, because I left the tournament before it ended.
So that had to be most goals then. Yeah. The MVP would come at the
right.
And I think the most goals only, I think it comes just within the regular division. Now watch me, you give me another check now, because if it goes for the whole tournament, you're on record. You want to take back that statement that you left before it finished?
Reggie, you can't take it off record. The only trophy I have in my house is this thing. And this thing weighs about 20 pounds.
It looks good. It's a nice trophy. It's a nice trophy.
It's a piece of furniture, Reggie. This is a desk. You understand, King? These are the things that used to give away back in the day. Nobody would show off this ugly thing unless you're proud of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a vibe, man. The Irish tournament was one of my favorite tournaments, man. Especially for many reasons. To see so many Caribbean humans, man and woman. And the vibe was always sweet, you know? And I really, really enjoyed seeing Jamaicans, Trinidad, Bajan. Like, them used to bring teams from Washington. Washington Nats came up. I remember watching this Trinidad Virgin named Chinapu. Virgin, I watched him play for an entire day and I felt like I was given a gift.
Yeah, Chinapu is a talented player. Yeah.
Virgin. I watched this man for a whole day because all I hear is he's telling me about this Chinapu. How is Chinapu? And I watched him play and I was like, boy, thank you for that gift.
Yeah. He makes it's simple. He moves. He makes the moves at the right time. He has the vision. That's a real midfielder.
2 touch, 1 touch.
Yeah.
When necessary. Like his game, like if I could explain anybody, just different body size, but the same energy was, again, is Socrates from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite midfielders of all time. Chinapu, similar.
Yeah.
Just smooth.
So now that you talk about the vibes and the Caribbean vibes and stuff, you know, I'm going to stuff something on you now to see if your superlatives and your adjectives, if you could come up with more, if you're going to use them again. Flemo.
Yes, boy. Hold up. Yo, Lebanon Park for me was more of a hangout than I would play ball every once in a while with a team that would ask me to come and play. Like I said, I played with Darren. I think Darren and Jan were on a team once and I played with them. I played different. I don't remember them.
Well, the thing is, Darren and Jan played for me. I don't think they play in the same year. So I suspect, I know Darren went with, I think was East-West Connection. So
maybe.
and maybe Jan went there too, because there was a time that I didn't have a team in the league for a year
Right.
or two. So I
Right.
feel that's the time. That's why I'm calling East-West Connection.
Right on. Right on.
They were within that time when we came out and came back in.
Like I said, sometimes when you have ball horse status, you do not remember the teams you played
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it seemed like you have that bad, man.
Not bad.
Because right now, everything run out of memory based on number of teams you play for and everything else, you know. So so ladies and gentlemen, we know, should we take him seriously or not? No, but I played with him, and you know, we still continue because I end up playing with this gentleman, you know, in Magic. You know,
Yes,
I knew him around, and I always know that, you know, watching him play, he used to, as he said, if you take his history now and you go back where he said he was small and where he said even most goals, or where he said, you know, if he couldn't make it, he'd have to hang it up or go train. That's the guy. That's the guy I saw over the period of time. So we end up on the same team, and now it's over 35. So let's see how you describe that now.
why, Benji? So, you and I never played together before. I've seen you play with other teams, and I knew before you knew that if I ever catch you, you would be scoring goals because you're a brethren where you know spaces, and I only need a forward who knows spaces, bro. And I'll put the ball in that space, and you went and got them every single time. I think together in a very short period of time, together, you and I got together on like 4, 5, 6 goals.
Yeah.
Like in 5, 6 games in a row. And back then, the reason I have what they call an acrimonious relationship with Magic is because I coached Magic 1 year.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yes. So Magic was in like first division, bottom of the tables, a couple of years in a row. So Glenn Faulkner came and asked me to come play, to coach. So I told them, yes, I would, but I'd be a player coach. They told me I couldn't do it. I said, you can't tell me anything. If me a coach, coaching is not a democracy, bro. It's a dictatorship. That's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear from the committee. So me and Cheryl and Diva and Bully and the committee, we went at odds. And even some of the players that year was at odds with me because I'm not a no-nonsense guy.
Your audio. When you clap your hands up. Yeah.
All right. So what was I running my mouth about this time? I lose my train of thought.
You were talking about the coach, player coach.
Magic, yeah. So we went, the year, so at the end of the year, after all the tumultuous BS, okay, we ended up second. We missed first place by 1 point, but the team still got promoted to the OSL the following year. And years after, a few years, Diver come up to me and said, boy, Julian, the late Jerome Henry, the Jules, you put this together. But during the time, we were banging heads. You understand?
Yeah.
I only know how to play one way. You know?
No, but that's good, man. It's either or, you know.
So, but it created some ripples over the years.
I realized that when we were there. I realized that.
So when you and I were playing together, that's what you were noticing.
Yes.
Right? Because you even said it to them in front of me, and everybody says, why is it you have Jules off the field and none of y'all can play? You said that out loud.
Yeah, because I finally had some jokers. You know, and that's the problem I had. And you always took it serious. So why wouldn't I want you out there?
I respect the game, even today. I don't go play football with any of them on there unless I go jogging a few weeks before we play. Even at 62 this year, I still want to go. I don't want to look like I'm not going out on a football field and just stand there and tell people I go play football. Football is still a running sport, so I still gotta run.
Jules, ladies and gentlemen, you realize me and this guy, we can go on for like 14 hours, but I have another interview to do.
Right.
What are you? You're not in the ball anymore. It seems like you're spending your energies on something else, wrong. So what are you into?
So first and foremost, I wanna big you up before I talk about anything else. What you're doing for this part of our lives is highly important, because it is clear to me from my youth to now that us Black people don't tend to glorify ourselves. What you're doing is putting out an outlet so our children and our grandchildren recognize, yo, dad and these really run some football in this country. This football thing was important to these people. It was a huge part of our culture and life. So I'm a big you up, because not a lot of us spend enough time glorifying their own community. So this is a commendable thing you're doing. Second thing I want to talk about is Shecky Yuwoon. I think Shecky Yuwoon should be somebody our community should find a way to honor in a public way, I think, because Shecky was my coach at George Brown College when I was the MVP that year and captain. Shecky has coached football from 10-year-old children up to all and given his life for Black people and football for Black children. So I think somebody should have a conversation about Shecky.
Oh, before you go to, no, don't go to the last one. Let's stay on Shecky. Since you and I talk, because you did post something. So Shecky is the one who sent the Tubman pictures to me, for me to post. So I contacted him about what you mentioned there, and he told me he's not really comfortable. Right?
Yeah, he said.
So we're gonna get him in another form or fashion. We'll deal with that.
He said the same to me, but he said, man, when I see that Tubman picture there, and that's when it occurred to me the amount of work he has put into the Black community when nobody knows.
And Jules, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Years,
I read a long time.
That years this man gave his life for Black youths, and nobody talks about it.
And Tubman was a very important and is a very important program, because Barry Hackett just wanted his contact. You see Dexter, you know, Shecky probably have. So even if he doesn't want to, because the publication is going to come at a later date, he can't stop the publication.
We have to acknowledge him. It's not about him. We don't need him.
He can't stop the publication. But everything that's happened, everything with the right thoughts, though, Jules, everything happened when thoughtful people talk. Right? Because I mean, it strikes me strange when you mention it to me, because I rang Shecky before you. So, and you see what I do, and then I go, because a lot you don't know, and that's why maybe we need to really do what I'm doing. So you see how this thing is making it make sense.
Big respect to you, King, as I'm trying to show you, man. We can't talk about Shecky without your format, without your forum. And when we talk about him now, enough of the man them will watch this. We'll go, yo, Shecky, you're right. Because everybody,
because Tubman is a serious program.
Shecky touch everybody.
Mike Nicky, I didn't get that from Shecky. When I talked to Sammy and these guys from West Indies, they told me Mike Nicky and these guys come from Tubman, from Shecky to West Indies.
Yeah.
You talk to Barry Hackett passed through. You know, those are seeds he planted.
Yes, and he coached me at George Brown College.
Well, that seed didn't grow.
We weren't very good, you're right. We were okay. We weren't good. Respect my brethren, respect to that. You know, see. And as the Canadian reggae world, man, reggae music and Rastafari are integral parts of football, my football, as a youth coming up. My uncle Woody King was a big time Rasta man. And he, when my dad and my mom split up and my father wasn't around, Woody would come get me and my sister and take us anywhere with him. He took me to the arena to see Brazil against Holland in 1974 when they used to have closed circuit TV. And he took us to the game. And that was my first World Cup game I saw on closed circuit. So this big Rasta man, I'm going to play football in that community, whatever. Just like Brazilians move with samba when they play football, and Trini move with soca. Jamaicans move with reggae. Reggae is a huge part of us. It's not just a music. So I started to recognize its impact, obviously globally, in every single culture. You can go up to Alaska and you can get reggae music. You can go Nunavut or New Zealand, you can get reggae music. Why? So the spiritual entity of the music and Rastafari, I think this world is trying to find all kinds of things when things are right in front of you.
True.
Reggae music don't care. It just goes where it wants to go. It meets everybody. It loves everybody. Reggae music doesn't care. Dub, reggae, it don't care. We as humans have all kind of hang-ups. Me no want the hang-ups. I'm going to follow reggae music. So I thought when I was done playing football that I would coach, because whatever I think I was as a player, I'm a way better teacher. I can coach football. I've coached 3 teams to championships, right? Including kind of like that Irie team. I was hugely influential from a coaching standpoint based on my experiences as a player, right? And the same I did with Magic. Was very successful even against all of the adversity, right? So for me to not study football and get into the program as I might have or should have, the way Laza and Junior Groves and these other people have, reggae music, just there's nothing but reggae music for me. So I developed branding, my own brand, this and that, promoted shows, managed Ibadan, a reggae band for a while. So I find reggae music to be such a positive energy that I get to tell its story better than most, you know. And in Canada especially, this Canadian system is from we come here to this day, it's like a box in a face. Like we can't play our music on Canadian or mainstream radio. Why not? Our music is playing in Germany. Our music is playing in Holland. Why can't I play in Toronto and in CBC?
And as far as I know, if you want to mix the ball again with it, from what I know, CONCACAF wise and stuff, Toronto is the biggest diaspora for Jamaicans. That's why they play the Gold Cup game at BMO Field. So it's strengthening what you're saying there. So the why nots, I don't know, but you gonna figure it out.
It's a TFC. TFC going to be the reggae team. You won't see. It won't be long. Our reggae culture is already coming to them. We have significant cultures, and your pride in your culture is what's generating this conversation you and I are having, and the conversations you've had with Sammy and Bugs and all the people we had talked to. Lawrence, I watched Lawrence's and I was laughing to myself because here's my brother from this team that I played on. I remembered how significant he was.
And he's real, eh? Everything out there. As Caribbean stars who start this whole Caribbean thing, if you put a name, I was trying to get Bonnie, who these guys last night talk about, which is Big Nut. You're Googling all these things and you can't get it. And these guys been here doing all these things, Julian. If you not paying the people to advertise, they want to take you off the map. So if we within our people stay in touch and stay in contact, they can't take us off the map.
We just have to tell our own stories, man. That's what I've been doing so long, man. That's why you and I hooked up, because I'm just telling our own stories. I'm not waiting for these people to speak for me ever again, because I've learned from them. They have no care about us or what we do. There's a respecting, yeah. But at the end of the day, I walked past Charlie Roach Lane the other day and I thought to myself, man, they honor this man with a laneway. I wonder these children today, how much abuse Canada put on Charlie Roach and Dudley Laws. We're glorifying them today, but they don't talk about the abuse they put these brothers through to get them where we're rating them and putting murals up about them. Now, Bridget, we're going to talk about the abuse part, because that they're going to rate them, because they wouldn't back down.
And we want the young people to understand, you know, you can't put them in a soccer game when they're a basketball player. They got to know the game of life and what's the game. They got to know the game.
Yeah.
There's a certain game that plays.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can go to school and you can get your BA and the MA and stuff, but you gotta get and know what this game is, you know. I mean, we came here and this is a real game. This is a real game. We're in a good game here, but we still gotta know the game.
Bro, and you gotta play from within. That's the thing, you know, we're talking about from the early.
The headphones. The headphones again.
You gone again?
Yeah.
It's not me. I don't have any. You have any messages coming through on your phone?
No. It's like you get something in your throat. It's not like it's not playing. It's just that this.
The microphone is on the phone, so it's not near me. I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything different.
Nah, man. But it came back just now. Well, I go get rid of you.
Maybe it's a sign that we should shut up. Is this any better?
Yes. I don't know why you deprive me all the time, man.
Not it. I didn't even think of it.
I want to thank you for all this information and all these intertwining, and I should expect it if I dealing with the king. Thanks for everything, man, and I want to tell you, I just watch your work, continue your work too, because it just kind of give me inspiration to let me know, well, somebody's working too in the community, because I can see the passion in the work you're doing.
For us.
Yeah.
For us. You know what I'm saying? That's what I respect there. I'm proud of we, and you proud of we.
Again.
Hopefully.
Thanks.
All right, my brother.
Take care.
Blessed love, yeah.
All right, yeah.
It's up.